Welcome, Christian Warriors. I want to give you a threat intelligence briefing about what's going on with the active shooter that we had in Minneapolis and what it looks like right now for church security, because right now I think we are at increased risk of a copycat attack based on some of the online messaging that we're seeing from the far left radical people. And I think they're emboldening potential active shooter lone wolf people to come attack churches. And I gotta tell you, you guys know I'm filming this while I'm on vacation. During my spare time, I've been perusing some of these far left sites, and I can't believe the trash that they're posting about encouraging people to attack Christian churches, to do active shooter incidents at churches around America. And it's very bothersome. So I want to give you a heads up. This is for my YouTube people. I put a threat intelligence briefing out over on Substack at christianwarriortraining.com. Go check that out. I've got everything that we're going to talk about in a written format, and I made it in a way that you can print it and distribute it to your church security team. So the bottom line up front, the Minneapolis Annunciation active shooter highlighted a dangerous evolution of active shooter tactics that we've seen from in the past. When we look at that active shooter attack, when we look at the tactics that the suspect used, his target selection was much like some of the other ones, including the Covenant church shooting in Tennessee, which also happened to be a trans active shooter. And in that one, they shopped for a place to attack, and they chose a church that had no security at all. And so this is a big warning. I don't understand why churches can't get this message. You have to have a church security team. Protecting your flock is part of stewardship. It's part of your duties as a pastor or a minister for your church. They have pre-attack planning on this one. We've seen this with a lot of recent active shooters where they're actually writing out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So they're making a plan. Now, whether they actually stick to that plan, that's a whole other story, but they are planning it out and trying to use good tactics. They had good operational security. They modified their behavior so that they would not be recognized as an active shooter. So these people are realizing what behaviors are going to tip off law enforcement to come arrest them. And so they're trying to modify those behaviors so they don't get caught. Now, in this one, he couldn't get inside. The big question is, were the doors locked prior to the attack, or were they locked as the attack was occurring? We don't know. I haven't been able to confirm that. But the shooting started from the outside, and we saw that in the Covenant shooter attack as well. Christians love their glass. They love those big, fat glass doors that you pass by because it looks open and welcoming. But there are many other churches, like I'm going to do a story on this Belfast church in Northern Ireland, where they still have security measures, but it's harder to attack them because they are worried about an attack. But I still felt welcomed coming to their church. I walked in, somebody greeted me. I didn't feel like I couldn't come in and worship. It was very nice. Let's go back to that online rhetoric. We've got to address this. So right now, there's thousands of accounts across Reddit, Discord, and French platforms that have expressed support for the killer. We have reports right now of merchandise being sold, like t-shirts bearing the shooter's image and slogans supporting the attack on Christians. We're seeing incitement where individuals are posting encouragement for further shootings at Christian churches, including at least one man in Massachusetts coming online, urging people to come attack Christians.
And you know what? There's going to be a lot more of that coming up. Especially at these religious areas, hey, we've had enough of your kind coming after public schools, right? It's about time, churches and Catholic schools and religious schools, it's about time they get their turn. That's what I think. I'm just going to sit back and watch people do it. And I'm going to laugh. I'm laughing about yesterday. You guys want to laugh about us? We're going to laugh about you.
So right now, what we have to worry about due to this amplification from social media is we have to worry about copycat risks. So the sheer number of supported posts significantly increases the probability of copycat incidents, even if most aren't actionable threats. So let's talk about implications for church security, what you need to do to protect your church. First and foremost, obviously, you got to have a security team. But if you're watching this, I'm preaching to the choir. Perimeter security is primary. Somebody left a note. I don't have time to respond to everybody, but I read most comments. Somebody left a note saying that they didn't worry about the parking lot, that they were more worried about the inside. And after seeing my videos, they realized how important the perimeter is. And I just want to be clear. The perimeter is the most important place for you to be. If you only have one person, place them outside the front door, watching the parking lot, because you're going to see that crazy person or the demon-possessed person coming in, and you can stop them before they get in. You're going to use counter surveillance, so you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready that they're going to mask their true intentions. And so you're going to have a little bit better discernment. And I suggest you go over to Christian Warrior Training, hit the training tab, and I have free classes on there for you. They're my gift to you as a fellow follower of Christ. A lot of people have told me I can charge $100, $200 per class. I am not doing that. I'm giving it to you for free because I don't want anybody to miss critical training. If you want to support what I'm doing, go to paid membership at ChristianWarriorTraining.com. That helps me continue running things here and promoting good stuff for you. You need to scrub your online information. So here, the mass for the kids in Minnesota was online. It said what time the prayers and the mass was going to start for the children. You're letting everybody know when they're going to come. Look, it's a school. It's not the church. It doesn't need to be online. Get all that, the map for your church, take it off. Just have signage about where you want them to go if your church is that big. I am part of a very large church, and we don't put our map online, but when you come in, you certainly know where to go because there are signs directing you where to go. Get that stuff offline because you're just giving somebody information to plan an attack. And that's what happened in Minnesota. They used the online information the school put out and used that to come kill children. Our biggest threat, hands down, is a lone wolf attacker. Everybody's getting ready for this. We know there's going to be this mass incident of terrorism that's coming up. We've all heard the warnings. We know it's coming. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But your biggest threat right now is going to be a lone wolf attacker, and it's just somebody associated with the church. A clear majority of them have some piece of association with the church, whether it's a family member, domestic violence, something like that, and they're going to come in and then they're going to attack your church. That's what you have to be aware of. So keep track of all the domestic violence stuff going on, people having problems with their children, stuff like that. All right, so what we have to worry about for the future, what the future holds for us. We know that other attackers are going to look at the Annunciation church shooting, and they're going to use that as a blueprint for their next attack. So I would look at what happened. I would debrief all your people on your team, including your pastors and your greeters and everybody else, get them all trained up and be ready for something similar. Now, online extremists are starting to normalize attacks on Christians and churches. It's bad enough that we have ISIS and Al-Qaeda telling people to go attack Christian churches, but now you've got all these leftists that are normalizing this behavior online, and you have to be ready for that. It is going to make lone wolf people emboldened to come after us. Now, the threat of additional church attacks, in my assessment, we're assessing it, is elevated, which means it's likely to happen. And it's going to happen against unarmed congregations with predictable schedules. Now, we don't want you to turn your church into a bunker. We want you to keep your church open and welcoming, but I want you to take a look at your church and think about what you can do to keep something like what happened in Minnesota from happening in your church. Now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for those of you in states like California, Massachusetts, New York, Illinois, the same places. It's going to be very difficult for you to protect your church, but you're going to have to do what you can to protect your people because you are required to do so. All right, I'm going to go back to vacation. I want you to go back to protecting your church. We don't get a vacation from what's going on around in the world for us. We're serving Christ, and part of that means that we have to go out of our way to protect our people continuously. I hope you do the same. I just want to let you know I love all you guys. You guys make me feel so good, and I appreciate you, and I thank you so much. So when you leave here, I want you to pray for the children and the victims over at Annunciation Church and pray for that God heals them, and not just their physical wounds, but their emotional wounds as well. I want you to pray for the protection of all of our churches, and then I want you to remember your ABCs. Always be caring.